Greetings, and I am going live. F.A. Chekki here, talking about Okinami. Is it a scam? And I'm going to say right up front, no, I don't think it's a scam. Is it a rug? I don't think so. And is there potential for it? I don't know. I posted in the Telegram, links will be in the description, today thought experiment that I'd like to go over that you can read about it in the Telegram. But I'll sum it up here. I don't want to go too long. Let's think about the origins of Okinami. So I'm going to try to sum it up. 4 years in the making. I have the hashtag, the ETH scan in the Telegram of a transaction now almost 5 years ago in the Okinami deployer wallet. It's 4 years old at the time Okinami was released about a year ago. We hear nothing from this dev that was at the San Francisco DevCon. It's been almost a year. There's a lot of mystery on this, but there's piece of evidence after piece of evidence after piece of evidence after piece of evidence. This dev has very intentionally left a breadcrumb trail for followers in the community to look into. It's very obvious. Please support the videos. Like, share, let's get people on this live. There's some stuff to talk about that's rather important. And I don't think Okinami is a scam. The biggest question is, did the dev abandon the community? Like, just leave? If the token is legitimate, then it doesn't matter. They'll get a replacement. Somebody will take their shoes, take over the project. It'll commence when the ETH Foundation deems it the right time to do it. The surge hasn't started yet. It's been delayed more into 2024. Gas prices are outrageous. Yesterday, I think GWI, or however you want to, GWEI, gas fees were over, I think, $200. 207, they're spiking hard. There's a lot of ETH volume right now. It's a problem. It's delaying things that Visa and other ETH buyers, investors are now pumping into right now. They have to serve that community. And I think the community is buying in anticipation. You still need gas. Is it ideal? Is it as good of a blockchain as Binance? It's definitely a lot more expensive than Binance. But it's I think, got a better foundation, better people. I wish the dev could watch this. I'll be a little informal here, as this is just a live. I wish, and if the dev is watching this, and I'd love for the dev of Okinami, Kanagawanami, to watch this. If they're watching, the community is still there. The Okinami community has stuck with this. They have no reason to, other than faith. And I posted in the Telegram today that Okinami was always meant to be a matter of faith. A lot of people refer to crypto as cults, or meme coin communities as cults. I think utility token communities have cults. There's a lot of cultism in crypto. And I know about your books, okay, ETH people. I know about a lot of your literature and a lot of your focus on iconography and its power and the power of movements of Aleister Crowley. Okay, and the charismatic type leader cults, Anton Chandor LaVey, Aleister Crowley, Adolf Hitler, to use his name in terms of just the cult. There's a lot of things in the iconography that are very powerful. Very powerful. The cross itself, cross of Jesus Christ, is a very powerful iconography around the world. In Islam, the star and the moon, other things that are important in their language, the name of Muhammad, for instance, and their book and their writing itself is very sacred to them. It's an iconography. You can't paint Muhammad, but you can talk about him, and it's just as the written word. Buddhists, of course, the Buddha, the fat belly Buddha. There's certain iconographies that are very, very powerful. Religions use them, but so does crypto, and so do crypto communities. So do those that are developing projects to garner community. You do have to have a certain level of investment to launch a token, especially utility coins or altcoins that actually do something. You have to have the seed money. It's a capital raising of sorts. Okinami may not have yet raised sufficient capital for this project. And I'll repeat that because it's a very important point. I don't know if the Okinami community has raised enough capital to get Okinami to move forward. If it's a utility token, and let me give you a counterexample, a very successful project I also like, and I'll plug it here because I like it. And I think it has a lot of potential because it's held its market cap very well, and that's Not Financial Advice, NFAI, is an AI trading algorithmic system, rewarding holders and all that. But they have a very good bot that they're using, and it's producing results. If you don't have sufficient capital or seed money, to seed your project, you're dead. You're not going to move. You need that. NFAI is raising that with this taxation. Okinami has no tax. It's pure DeFi. There's no taxation. It's a Seifu contract. I don't know about the LP. It says burned on one thing, but it's not a very good audit on Token Sniffer. The quick intel is not sufficient. It shows it like it's burned, but it's just open. It's an open unlock, and there's no lock. They could run any time with it if they wanted. But the dev hasn't. And then one of the things I bring up in this thought experiment, I really hope you read it. I don't want to ruin it all. I want you to go to the Telegram, link in the description. I want you to actually go through it. He added 10%. He, she, whoever they are. They added 10% of the liquidity early on because the community pushed it up to like 3 million market cap or whatever. And it was then 5 million. And they held the line at 5 million. I mean, for a short period of time. The fact is, Okinami was over 5 million market cap, held for a while, and actually got to one point between 14 and 15 million. So it's definitely at a greater than 90% fall from its all-time high, which didn't hold very long at 14. It came down fiercely after a penny. It came down quite a bit, and right now it's about 800,000, which is not a dead project by any means. It's just not a huge. It's a very it's a micro cap. That the surge next year could be a trigger, but again, there may need to be some more capital raised. We may have to hold the line at 5 million because of volume, and being able to utilize the token. We don't know if insiders sold. I don't know of any evidence that insiders have sold theirs. We've seen whales sell. There's some big whale sales. Just a side note, a suggestion to the community. We should be pairing the token with Suka, and Suka should be pairing with us, and we burn each other. As part of the poetry. The dragon, the fire, and the ice, the water and the heat, the water and the fire. We're the water life. Suka's the fire. Okay? even the Dejitaro, the sword, you need lots of fire to make that sword. Suka is an interesting story. If we copied Suka, if Okinami copied Suka, possible. The contracts are nearly identical except for the byte code. I think it's called byte code. Bit code. The execution layer of the contract is different between Okinami and Suka. And that actually the byte code or the execution function is very significant. In my research, I've seen that it relates to the token contract, the identity of the token, but it's how the bots pick it up. It's how programming can pick up the token and do something with it. So it has its own distinct token address. Obviously, Okinami has a different token address than Suka. And they both are distinct in that manner, although most of the code is the same. Because it's a safe code, it could be from possibly some type of development. They were both involved at the same time, and they got access to the same code, and they both used it. As I've said before, it's very possible, in one theory, that the devs split up, and Suka was ready to go. And the Okinami people are like, this isn't ready till the surge, but we're going to launch during the worst part, the most scary part of the bear market. They tested this during the worst crash, like a terrible crash in crypto, as Bitcoin went from its 69K or wherever its all-time high in 22 hit like 14, 13, and it went down pretty low. It got down to the 14K level, if I recall correctly. It sat at 16 for quite a while. And there's a lot of trepidation and fear. A lot of people doubted crypto. Even people were losing faith in crypto. If you know the story, you know how it all went. People were like throwing the towel in on it, saying, screw crypto, too many losses, too many scams. There were a lot of scams, there really were. Look at Luna Classic. That's a progeny of Luna, which Do Kwon destroyed. Because he had the keys and he was greedy and he kept the money for himself. One bad actor on a system that requires trust can crash a whole blockchain. The weird thing that sets the ETH Foundation aside, Ethereum developers is a trustless system. Like, it's so hard in their systems for one person to crash Ethereum because it's very very decentralized. Do Kwon had so much centralization in one person, it was almost more of a meme coin type scenario. Whereas they had the tech, but they had one person with all the power. And it didn't take much for Do Kwon to do that. To untether it from a stable coin, and Luna just crashes, becomes worthless from its highs or where it was stabilized at. I don't think Okinami would have survived this long if it was very obviously a scam. Some have left because they think it's a scam. I know that. I belong to the research group. I've seen people very skeptical, and I understand. I had to take a break from the research group for a while because I'm just like, this is getting a little bit out of control. Yeah, there's a lot of pictures with things in it, but those are like evidence, like in the telegram with the Shiba Inu that came from the LARP picture being the picture of these pixels that are similar color to the Great Wave off Kanagawa, Hokusai's masterpiece. The fisherman, Mount Fuji, the Great Wave. And it's just pixelated, and the Telegram community for Okinami ran it through some pattern recognition filter. And so the pattern recognition created a strange image. One side being very obviously the side of the dog, the other one looking kind of doggish. But if you actually mirrored the image on one side, it very clearly shows the Shib or like Hachi like dog. And you just through a chrome filter. You just have to change the contrast some. You can kind of see it without it. It's weird. It's one of those images, if you stare at it long enough, you're like, oh, I don't even need to filter that. The pattern recognition image, you just stare at long enough, you see the Shiba Inu. Just mirroring one side, though, makes it a lot easier to see, which is very like Leonardo da Vinci type cryptography. It's cryptography. It's an encrypted message in a picture, but in the metadata, so there's one instance of a fact about this picture is that it has data in it. And part of the metadata, it says LARP1. It's one of the first images that the dev of Okinami starts sharing in the diaries. And people had no clue what it meant other than it kind of just, you look at it and you start to see in a very strange digitized imagination the Great Wave off Kanagawa. It's got a lot of similar colors to Hokusai's artwork. But the fact that he would save it as LARP1 that is like the red flag about it that everybody's very fixated on. And I think what you're subconsciously more fixated on is that the dev disappeared for about a year. And nobody knows what's going on. The website flickered on for a little bit. It stayed on barely at all. New like AI picture representation of Great Wave off Kanagawa. It looked like the domain was renewed very quickly, at least, to maintain it. And the website was shortly thereafter the domain name expiration renewal. The site went back up. I'm not aware of anyone in the community who could have bought the domain and done that, because it doesn't look like the domain never changed from the owner. And there's a transaction to prove that. Yes, we have to make dinner. It is alive, so this is why I got kids here. I'm going to make like kind of rice and steak and chicken hibachi night, but I'm not ready to grill it just yet. But it's going to be good. The rice is done, though. Okay, I'll make it here in a minute. After I'm done with this video, I'll definitely make some. So anyway, just to kind of wrap. Let's just I boiled it. Leave it right there because I want to let it sit. It's just staying warm. That's keeping it warm there. I got to cook here soon. Anyways, again, go to my thought experiment. Pin post in the Telegram. Okay, you gotta look at it, because what I'm basically suggesting is there's a thing in logic. There is actually a logical thing in our reasoning, our deductive, inductive thinking. I don't know if it'd be deductive, but it's at any rate, it's something in logic. It's called reductio ad absurdum, meaning if you keep reducing something down more and more, it starts to become absurd based on your initial premise. So let's just go with the premise that Okinami is a scam. If you saw what happened with Safarium, that was a very crafty, well-done scam that got a lot of people. It really looked like some of the good parts of the Safe Moon community were behind it, and I think it was actually the devs. This is a theory. I think the devs of Safe Moon knew they were going to go to jail, knew they were getting indicted, and so they did the Safarium thing for some legal money. Their lawyers are costing them a lot, and I'm sure they're willing to put down $1 million retainers to try to go to white collar jail, so they don't have to go to like real bad federal penitentiary. So Safarium, by example, is a very good contrast. There were some fishy things about Safarium. This is moving very, very suspiciously fast. But it did look like they got 4 or 5 centralized exchanges. But now that if we look at MEXC and we look at Poloniex and Gate.io, these smaller centralized exchanges are likely to get investigated by the SEC. And if they find a lot of issues, they possibly, I don't know, a bug got zapped over there. So there could be insiders, especially the hacks that happened. I don't know if it was one of these centralized exchanges recently had a hack, and it did actually affected one of their tokens. They sold a lot of a token from that. I think it was Poloniax. It could have been Poloniax. There's possible a lot of bad actors working in, and I know there has to be a lot of bad actors working in the centralized exchanges. They probably helped Safarian pull that off. Okinami has clearly not shown that there's any intentional misrepresentation. Okay? Like, Okinami has not, in my opinion, shown that there's any misinformation or rugging or anything of that nature. I think it's more like Okinami's like there's a stopgap. Okay. The best word I can use is like in business is a stopgap. There's something that happened there of a critical nature where they had to stop communication, which may be where, yeah, it could be a new dev. Maybe they had to put a new dev on the project because there's like, the dev is like possible because the community said they see who I am and I could be doxxed and I don't want that to happen. Because there was a time where the community had some images of who was at San Francisco DevCon. And I'm like, first of all, they have no reason to fear going to jail. They haven't taken the liquidity. And that's one of the things people are talking about. Like, oh, well, the fact that they didn't take the liquidity, they're just worried that they know who they are because the picture at San Francisco DevCon, which is very blurry and has a mask on, you couldn't possibly identify a defendant. That would never pass in court. Okay? I do come from at least some knowledge in this area. I have a license to practice law. Okay, attorney. I was barred in Colorado. I work in the financial industry. I don't have an active license, although it's inactive, and I still have an inactive license. But I know something about the subject. Not financial advice. None of this is financial advice. None of this is legal advice. Let me put my disclosure out here right now. None of this video is for either legal or financial advice. This is just for entertainment purposes only. You know, watch it at your own risk and do your own research. If you were to take the images from the San Francisco DevCon and the defendant, who we couldn't never find, but assuming there was a defendant, the judge would never let him in because they'd say these pictures are so misleading that could identify me. Brown hair, beard, maybe glasses. I don't know, glasses, no glasses, similar build. People could say, oh, that's F.A. Chekki. He's the dev of Okinami. The pictures are not good, okay? And AI would misinterpret it easily as to who's in those pictures. You'd have to have much more clear photos. But we may have actually narrowed it down, perhaps, to maybe some possible ETH developers that could be behind Okinami. EIP 4844 is delayed anyway. The coding for Okinami in and of itself as a utility coin, it's just got like its own address and it has some aspects that it'll do whatever Suka does because the code's the same. It'll do whatever Suka does, but it'll have a different execution layer, and therefore your dApps, your programs just interact with it according to the execution layer. Paired up with Suka, I say they burn each other. there has to be a staking platform. A node needs to be created. A node, a very big node, a massive one. And Okinami paired with Suka would build a node so vast with the amount of ETH going in and out of it that the staking rewards would be phenomenal. And every time you stake the pair, you burn some. And they both burn each other. So if you have Okinami and you buy Suka, you could pair them Okinami Suka, and that burns Suka, and then you could also do vice versa. I could stake some Suka and burn some Okinami. And then I get some rewards. Okay? So whatever you get as a node from the ETH Foundation, that goes to reward the holders. You don't need the dev to make this. It just needs to be very safe. It needs to be a very safe staking protocol that automatically rewards and also does the auto burn feature. This is very easy to make, and this, after all the testing, the hard part's security. This is keeping it secure so nobody gets hacked. Everything in crypto is vulnerable to hacking. And the most valuable crypto, in a way, is not prone to hacking. You can't hack a safe contract. You can't hack a safe protocol. You have to have audits that pass and say, we have tried to break this thing left and right. Its security is very good. And out of those audits, you can improve your security because they say these are some of your issues and you fix it. Then you can get more audits. And they try to break it again. And if you pass, shows how safe you are. There's legitimate audits, there's illegitimate ones. And if I recall correctly, I thought Okinami and Suka both have some type of audit from early on. I have to check on that again. Dogs are going a little bit crazy here. Hold on, Millie. In conclusion, though, I'm just going to conclude here because I'm about 30 minutes. And it's a comedy of errors. It's a comedy to think of Okinami is just a rug or a scam. Because they could have made so much more. 5 million market cap, 10 million, the surge, 15 million. They could have kept that going and going. All they needed to do was reveal the roadmap and the white paper. Because they could have had AI write some silly, phony, baloney stuff like you see in all these other rugs to make it sound like the most base technology on the planet. And it's going to be releasing soon and this and that. But this is the thing. None of that matters right now. Because there's no... Faith comes in when there's not enough proof one way or the other. When there's not enough proof one way or the other, you have to make a gambit. You either make the fool's gambit or you make the good one. You know, the fortune gambit. I say either believe or I don't. So I don't. You can hold the token and not believe. You can hold the token, believe. If you hold the token, don't believe. Just leave it in a bag and don't come back until you hear news about it, because it would be on the news if this was a major thing, especially for the crypto news market. So Okinami. There's not enough proof to say it's a scam. There's not enough proof to say it's legitimate. It's all a matter of faith. And I think there's lots to be unlocked. I think if the community resuscitated the token, brought it back up over 5 million, brought up the volume, bringing in the interest, that's going to help the developers move things along. They need the funding. I mean, this could be a way of funding something. And if they're building a massive bridge between Bitcoin and Ethereum so that it's very cheap to scale both, that could be a scaling solution in and of itself. Meaning, we need to move Bitcoin and ETH along the credit card networks in a way that you build something that facilitates that to keep the gas at a very, very low fee. So it's less than what it costs for credit cards to exchange, and it has to be energy cost efficient, that's one of the biggest challenges for Ethereum, however you want to say it, and Bitcoin is interoperability between the chains and keeping the gas fees low. They're finally building on the Bitcoin network. There's ordinals, the fact that there's dApps and things being developed for Bitcoin. The maximalists or whatever, the maxis don't like it a lot, but some kind of do. They're like, this is innovation. Innovation's always good. Could probably cause some shaky things in the market when one of them breaks down and so there's an issue. But I will say this, if there's a connection there between Satoshi Nakamoto, The Great Wave, his book, you saw the art. If there's a connection with that, if there's a between that and Okinami, that's massive. That really is massive. We're talking about scaling the two big market caps. Bitcoin, Ethereum are the top two big market caps. It's the gold and the silver. I like to think of Ethereum as the silver, but last days the diamond. But think about gold, silver, bronze. This is like Ethereum. ETH is the silver, and there's high value in its blockchain and what it can do. If the community just wants to go forward, it's not about being patient anymore. It's about saying build something. The dev is saying build stuff. Build a website, do this, do that, and maybe they come back. The hope is maybe they return and say, I love what you guys have built. We have some things in store to help build this project now. You get it. This is DeFi. Communities need to build it, and we can. We definitely could do the node and the pair staking with Suka. It's a cool story. The dragon, fire, the water, the two elements, they burn each other. They're going to burn off supply. There's nothing wrong with burning off a supply in an ERC20. They're on their own. They're meme coins without anything. They're just meme coins. They're not doing anything, just being traded. You have to develop something from how they work. The water and the fire combined. It's really cool imagery. The blue and the orange. I'll make some art for this. I think you'll love it. Suka in Okinami paired a node, stake together, pair them and stake them, just like on how you saw it on Shiba Swap. I don't think Ryoshi is a person. Ryoshi is a group of people who LARPed him. You can say, oh, well, the LARP, he called the file the LARP. This must all be a big scam. You know, Shiba Inu is a LARP. Shiba Inu is a LARP. It was a joke. This is an experiment in spontaneous community building or whatever. And then the Ryoshi, this like wise Japanese dude showing up, and he's like the master. You know, he's the kung fu master, like coming in, the Zen master. We don't even know if the Twitter Ryoshi research is definitely connected to him or not. We don't know, but whoever controlled that Twitter shut it down, erased everything. And you get the Suka Twitter account, Ryoshi Research Twitter account connection. Suka got the Miller repo on there, blah, blah, blah. Okinami comes out after Suka, but with a wallet that had a transaction 5 years ago. So somebody was giving it a Japanese-based name, Okinami, to a deployer wallet that's 5 years old, for anticipating a 2022 bad bear market and saying, we're going to pull it off in 4 years, and we're also going to have foresight for this. You know, I'm going to predict Suka, basically. I'm going to read the future. I'm going to look into the future, predict Suka, Japanese, all kinds of Japanese things going on with Suka. I mean, it just makes sense. They're two tokens that are like Venus and Earth. I mean, they're meant to orbit around each other. There's something there. There's going to be red flags on both. Somebody pulled from one of the secondary liquidity pools in Suka a whole bunch of ETH. But it wasn't the main one. Nobody took the Okinami LP. It's all there. So it's all a matter of faith. It's a matter of faith. I hope you liked the YouTube short I did. Please give it a super thanks. Please donate to the video if you want. Comment, share, like. I'll take the super thanks. Buy some Okinami. We can do some more giveaways. It helps me out, helps my channel out, and I appreciate all your support. Like, subscribe, tell everybody about this video. Okinami is not dead. it's just, it's the boat. We're still in the boat and trying to overcome the wave. The community has to get it together. I mean, it's that simple. If it's going to be pure DeFi, the community has to get it together and start making stuff and make it happen. And they're trying. The admins, we're trying. We have a marketing wallet set up. We're trying to get the Twitter account going. The website, its own website, community website. We're just we're slower than Suka because we don't have all this money coming in. We don't have all these big influencers. But now we're going to just follow the models and just move the project. And hopefully the dev comes back and is like, you got it, guys. Finally, I'm here. And I welcome the dev. I hope he's watching. And I'd say to you, you know, the community wants to do things. Please come back and consult the community at least. As a consultant. That'd be great. All right, till next time, everybody. Hope you like the live. I got to go and make some dinner. Bye now.